Let's go, family. Happy, blessed Tuesday. You already know what time it is. It's your boy, Crazy Faith to God. Welcome to the Crazy Faith to God channel, where you get nothing but value, nothing but love, impacting your spirit each and every single day, right? Let's dive straight into this topic. Today's topic is going to be whatever you focus on is going to determine how strong you become, right? Whatever you're focused on is going to determine how strong you actually become, right? I know when I wasn't as focused as I am now, right? I was just pretty much not as strong. My focus wasn't as strong as it is now, and the person that I'm becoming was not as strong as it was supposed to be because I was not focusing on the right things, right? Well, see, whatever our dominant focus is going to determine how strong we become, right? So if we're focusing on God, we will become strong, right? We will become strong, right? But the moment we get distracted and our attention goes to something that's not profiting the kingdom or that is not of God, what begins to happen is you begin to digress. You begin to become weak, right? You begin to become weak, right? So say if you're focusing on women, if you're focusing on lust, all of that stuff can potentially make you weak, right? In the long term, in the long run, right? If you're giving your attention to lust, if you're giving your attention to, a lot of women, right? And it's not focused on God or, your purpose, you will become weak, right? So our focus is everything. Our focus is going to determine how strong we become. So we don't want to give our attention to anything that's just not adding value of the kingdom. Like if you see the distraction, if you see the drifting of the mind, it's time to reject that, right? And replace it with God. Replace it with the image of God. Replace it with your goal, the feeling of the vibration of your goal, right? That's what we need to keep doing, right? We can't just leave our minds just open and not mending our gardens. Not mending our gardens. We need to protect our mind. We got to treat our minds as we spent $1 million for it, right? We got to start treating our minds if as though we spent, millions of dollars for it, right? We got to do this. We got to be able to adjust. We got to be able to understand what's going on in the internal world, right? Remember, your internal world is your primary focus, right? Your internal world is your primary focus, right? The external world is your secondary focus, right? Let me say that one more time. The primary focus is your internal world. What's going on within you? That's your primary focus. Your secondary focus is the external world. So we have to start prioritizing the internal world rather over the external world, right? When you prioritize your internal world and you make that your primary focus, you are able to control what happens on the external world, right? You're able to stay in control of you. You're able to control what's going on within you, right? And if once you control what's going on within you, your outside is easily being able to be taken care of, right? Why? Because you are in control of the internal. So when you're in control of the internal, it's easier to guide the external. You're able to stay more in control of the external situation, circumstances. You're able to move through that. You're able to overcome that because you already cultivated the external world, right? let's not forget that the internal world is the primary focus. The external world is secondary. It's never the other way around. The external primary and the internal secondary. It's never that. You will lose. You will get defeated. Right? You will get defeated. Right? So let's start prioritizing the internal world. Right? Let's start prioritizing that. Because it's a lot of stuff that goes on in the internal world that we might not be aware of, and that needs more light to be shined on the internal world in order to get some order, in order to get some control over your life. You don't have the control that you want because your primary focus is the external world and not the internal world. You will lose control like that. You don't want to lose control focusing on the external world rather than the internal world. Because when you do that, you give your power away to the external world, and then the external world life, the life externally controls your internal life. Right? Don't let that go over your head. Break it down. Right? I'm reading The Power of Now, and it's giving a lot of gems. It's giving a lot of gems. You guys need to get that book if you want to master yourself and take control of your life. That's a really good book to tap into the now. That's a really good book to transform into the person that God needs you to be. And it could only happen in the present moment. God can only transform you in the present moment. Right? So the primary focus is always the internal, and whatever your focus is on is going to determine how strong you become in life. So if you're not strong, if you're weak right now, if you're strong, if you're depleted, your attention needs to be focused on Christ. Needs to be focused on the picture of Jesus's face. And if you want to switch it up, you can put the cross. The image of it on your mind should be a cross. Jesus, you need to be focused on him if you're weak, if you're depleted, if you're not happy, right? And once you focus on him, you might drift a little bit, but then you get your attention right back on him. You might drift a little bit, right back on Jesus. Keep doing it until you have fixed focus. Keep doing it until you have laser focus on Jesus, and you start to feel better. Right? I noticed that it happens to me. Sometimes I get distracted. Sometimes I drift off. Right? Sometimes my mind gets out of the present moment. And I do the simple task. All I do is, Jesus, you're the captain. You're the captain of my ship. So let me focus on you for perfect peace. And I do that. Sometimes I drift. I go, oh, no, Jesus. That's my primary focus. The internal world, I focus on him until I start feeling better. I drift a little bit. Oh, no, right back on Jesus. No. You got to be aware. You have to be aware. We're not perfect. I'm not saying everybody's perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I mess up too, but you know what? I get it right. I pivot and I get it right. Jesus, my primary focus. I need to be focused on him for perfect peace and to enjoy life on another level, right? In order to get his will done, I need to be focused on him. To have the strength to get through the trials and tribulations, I need to be focused on him, right? If you drift, if you have a negative thought that's not adding value, image of Christ, forward, right? Forget about those images. Forget about the negativity, the people that are trying to pull you down, the problems, the situations. Forget all of it. Throw it in the trash. Give it to God. The vengeance belongs to him. Give him the burden. He'll make it light. Cast up the images to Christ to clear your mind. Because you do not want to be a slave to the devil, but you want to be a child of God. You want to be the sons. You want to be the daughters of God. Right? You are a mighty hero. You are the king's son. You are the king's son. You are the queen's, you are the king's son, right? You are a queen of God, right? For our ladies out there, you are a queen of God, right? So we can't allow our minds to drift. We cannot be a slave to the devil, right? We cannot allow that. We have to cast off those images, right? We have to cast off lust, because that's imminent against God, right? God does not like lust. He doesn't want you walking, lusting after things that do not profit the kingdom, right? We have to be super mindful of the things that separates us from God, because why? We get hurt. God doesn't get hurt. Yeah, he might be pissed off, but we ultimately feel the pain and the suffering. So let's get our fixed focused on Christ and not of things that's not going to profit the kingdom, right? I want to leave you guys with this, right? If you don't start focusing on the things that are going to make you strong, right? You're going to become weak, right? And if you're not focused, if your primary focus is not the internal world, but it's more to the external world, you will live in depletion and defeat. You will not get anywhere far in life. You will keep stumbling, thinking you're moving ahead, and you go right back to the same. So let's get our eyes fixed, focused on Jesus, right? Focusing on things that are strengthening us, so that way we can get to our goal, so that way we can get to the promised land, so that way we can move further in life, right? It's only going to happen with the Spirit of God that's leading us, right? I want to leave you guys with that, and I want to take a few minutes to pray over you guys and ask that God could bless you guys, right? To help you discern what to focus on, and help you to discern what's actually making you strong and what's actually making you weak, and to also discern what separates us from God and what keeps us close to God. God, thank you, God, for this awareness. Thank you, God, it's already done, for shifting our minds and allowing us to see what you need us to be focused on. So with that being said, it's your boy Crazy Faith the God. On the way out, I'm gone. Hope everybody have a blessed and amazing Tuesday. Nothing but love. Let's grow. Let's get it 1% better each and every single day. Let's go.